It's ISSF World Cup #1 of the 2017 season. It's a combined World Cup, so this morning we've seen 2 rifle events and now we're going on to the first of the shotgun events. Matthew Layton, we're going to be talking you through what's going to be happening. It's a new format, it's exciting stuff, a lot of unknowns coming out before us. I'm feeling pretty relaxed though, because next to me I have 4-time Olympian Shawshin from India. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
You've been out this morning. The conditions, describe them to us, please.
Actually, they're quite unprecedented, because normally this time of the year, winter, we don't have such high winds. They have been really blustery all day, and I think it has upset some of the shooters in their rhythm. But I guess come March it does get like this, so it's an early summer, unfortunately.
Well, we'll have to... Each of the competitors have had a long day before them. 6 athletes were involved in a shoot-off, which involved a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and on top of that, Jessica Rossi, obviously the 2012 Olympic champion, came out ahead. But it's exciting, dynamic stuff. She shot at 2:30 our time. The other girls were shooting earlier. And say the lineup is going to be 2 athletes from China, People's Republic of China, Finland, Australia, Kazakhstan, as I've mentioned. Italy have a double world and Olympic champion. So there's some exciting stuff going on.
Very true, very true. I think it's nice to see new blood coming in at the beginning of an Olympic cycle. Bodes well for the sport. And we hope they'll do well in this final, because they are up against a very strong Jessica Rossi with the credentials you just mentioned.
Mopsy, who we've just seen in our picture, I was talking to her a couple of hours ago after her first series, and she was just chatting away. She said, "Hey, I just turn up and shoot. It's a lot of fun for me." Clearly, she came 4th in Nicosia last year. That's the last time I was actually announcing for you the World Cup circuit. But she's obviously a tough competitor, like all the others are.
Actually, I'm always wary of the person who comes in from a tie shoot at 6th position, because you never know. They normally go on to win, and I think a lot of people in this crowd, big crowd that we have here today to watch, will be banking on her to possibly pull this through. Let's see.
Well,
that's exciting.
When I spoke to you a while ago, one of your athletes had a wonderful start, but ended in huge pain.
That's true. She started brilliantly. She was leading most of the way, halfway through the whole course of the match, and then of course, you know, the wind does sometimes play up the devil in your mind, and I think that's what sort of happened. And I wish she would, I'm quite sure, been in this final today.
If there's any problems, we can see count on Penny Smith from Australia, who's a lifeguard. She can really save the day if it's necessary. She's also got quite a good reputation as a junior in this event as well.
Yes, again, that's again what I was saying earlier. I think this new blood that's coming in, and we've seen a lot of juniors and youngsters shooting this final.
There's Marco Deladia, who produces all these wonderful press reports and has done for many years for the ISSF. So it's good to see some of the faces behind the scene.
And it's a full. I mean, like you said, it's a full World Cup, so we are really getting to experience shooting sport in its full splendor, with all the top athletes, shooters from all over the world, in rifle, pistol, shotgun. And I'd like to add here that shooting is a very, very upcoming and promising sport in India now, and this is a real shot in the arm for India.
So we don't want to overcome with the cliches, but I guess it's a proud moment for you as one of the key players in the last decade or so.
Very, very, very definitely.
We'll try and see how much we can pick up Jamie Strangry, who's the announcer, to see how the wind plays into that. If not, I'll risk on repeating, but hopefully not. He's going to line up the 6 athletes to give you some quick bio. I think that came across well. 20 years old, Yen Hang Yu, top qualifier, 69. Again, 69. She did differently though. She did a 24, 23, 22. She described herself as a postal worker. And Penny was a finalist in the 2015 Junior Worlds in Olato. There's your Aussies watching on. Anastasia Davidova, 32 years old last week. This is her first senior final that she did make a junior final. Jessica Rossi, who needs no introduction. Macho, just tell me something about why they're standing in their positions and how it's important.
Oh, it is important because that's how they've ended the classification. Number one has been the highest score. She possibly shot the best last series as well, because the next girl is again on the same score as her, 69.
Yeah, that's right. That's 23-22.
That's correct. And then so on and so forth. And this will also decide who gets eliminated in the finals, because in the count back, if there's a tie, the person on your left will get eliminated.
So that's a crucial change. There's going to be no, if you followed it for the last few years, rip up everything you know and start again. We're having an elimination battle.
Actually, I quite like this rule. We've tested it out for the last 1 week, and it definitely gives a little extra edge to the person who's shot the best in classification. Unlike the other rule that was there earlier, where everyone started off even. Here there's a bit of an advantage to the person.
So, nerves?
Yes, of course, and I think it's a quick start, from announcing.
No messing from Mopsy. Shooting left-handed, does that come into play at all or not?
Not really. I think they're very predominantly right-handed shooters, but you have some very exceptional left-handed shooters around the world. But having said that, I think this is a new format, and we need to see how the shooters engage themselves with having to shoot 50 targets and at one stretch. And at the same time, a strong start will benefit the shooter. Because the pressure will start mounting towards the end after the 35th, 40th shot. And the one in the lead there will definitely have an advantage.
So we're in for quite a long section now. I think the 25 shots. Just briefly, tell us a little bit about trap and how it works for people tuning in for watching family and friends.
Well, trap is, as it's called, Olympic trench in most parts of the world. There are 15 machines which throw out a clay target. They're placed in a bunker, which is the machines are about a meter below the top of the bunker. The clay targets come out from underneath at a nominated point, which is normally a white marker on that bunker. But the most important thing about trap is that you don't know the direction of the target. It could go left, it could go right, or for that matter go straight. And you have a series of 25 shots, which pretty much you have 10 left, 10 right, and 5 straight, randomly thrown out by a computer, which decides totally randomly. So it's all your instinct, your hand-eye coordination, and how well you can gauge the target coming out in whichever direction it's going.
I've read that it's 95% mental at this level.
Once you reach the international level, and at this level, it's 95% for sure. It's how you're feeling at that time, how you've prepared well, you're mentally set up well, and then it's just your instincts take over after that.
And today it's still early. We see Mo from Finland 3, Penny Smith 3, Davidova from Kazakhstan 3. How is the wind coming into play?
I think it's sort of settled in a bit. The wind is not as strong as it was in the earlier part of the afternoon, and we are on a range which is slightly set a little lower than the other ones that really got affected in during the classification. I don't think wind is playing that much of a factor, but yes, what is possibly is affecting them is that they've been through very windy conditions, so some of them may be a little ruffled by that, and carrying a little baggage from the last classification round.
So it's mainly again in the head to how they
Yes.
feel that it might affect the situation.
I would suspect that's what a lot of them possibly feel at this point in time, and then the one who eases out and sort of gets into rhythm right in the beginning will stand a better chance to make it to the medals.
And can you see any advantage at any of the shooting stations?
Not really. I don't think there's any advantage, but I think if you're leading, like for instance, if you start on 1, if you're shooter number 6 starting on 1, you do have that advantage if there's a tie and you beat the person on your left. So that does help you. But I think it's still early days. We are right now on the 6th series. It won't really boil down till I think the 20th, when we're going into the final 5 before the first elimination takes place.
If you wonder why Kazakhstan was looking happy with himself, Davidova yet to miss.
And so is Jessica.
And you mentioned it might be the fact that she had to scrap her way through this morning should be working in her favour.
Yes, of course. It makes I think sometimes the tough conditions make the tough even tougher, and that's why possibly she's come through a really strong showing in the classification.
But at the other end of the scale, we do have Yen Hanyu, who she is top in the qualifications, and it's a 1 out of 5 start. Can we explain that?
Right, that's it. The sport is such. When you're leading and you go into a final, a lot of people have been known to have lost from very commanding positions, gone into a final with a really high score. It's a pressure of the occasion, and more so of that particular present time when you're shooting that final. It's how you actually, in a way, you start the final. Sort of sometimes dictates how you shoot through the whole final.
And the fact that we've seen Davidova have everyone a hit so far, does that indicate it's going to be a high-scoring final? It's no excuses.
But I don't know. It's still pretty early in the final. There are only 7 or 8 shots in, and I do think that with this new final, which is 50 targets, and we don't stop. It's a lot of targets to shoot, especially for the girls who only shoot 75 in classification. So
and then they have breaks, don't they?
No, there's no breaks here. This is straight.
That's right. In the warm-ups, in the qualifications, it's break, think about it, break, and here it's just bang, bang, bang.
Yes, and it's going to favour someone who's definitely, a little more, I think, physically fit, and more possibly well-conditioned athletes will find it favourable towards the end of the finals, when when you're tiring out mentally, physically, you need to have that little extra in you, and that's why it's going to, I think, make a difference.
Well, Yen is coming up forward a little bit.
Actually, we had the Commonwealth Games here in 2010, and the scores in the Commonwealth Games were unprecedentedly high. They were
The actual weather, I can't remember the weather conditions for those.
The weather conditions were the games were in November, which is ideal weather, no wind, great sunlight, and the visibility was amazing, and we had some phenomenally high scores. And I was expecting pretty similar kind of scoring in this World Cup, because we've got possibly better shooters here.
And how do you see the visibility today?
I think the visibility is really good. It's been wonderful all week, but today it's been exceptional. There's not a cloud in the sky. The temperature is good. It's just that possibly the wind has picked up, which has caused people. I know my shooters definitely shot the last 10-15 days with no wind. Come yesterday, the wind picked up, and that's also put them off a bit. So it's sort of a sudden weather change that has come up.
Moving back to the scoreboard, we still have Finland leading from Kazakhstan, from Italy, which is a surprise, I suppose, to see the People's Republic of China. They picked up medals in the 2 events this morning. Okay, they're not related, but psychologically.
Yes, I think the Chinese are always the most professional team when they come to these multi-discipline events. They always pick up medals in just about all that they participate in. And they're a force in shooting, which everybody knows. But I do believe that they may have come with a junior experiment, a young team to give them exposure, and they've done brilliantly well from the position that they've been.
I wonder if you can pick up Jamie in the background. Not sure you can. Anyway, after 10 of potentially 50 shots, there are 2 athletes with 9 out of 10, which is Mo Vroma and Jessica Rossi, which is good scoring.
Yes, very good. And
Jens Hongyu is starting to pick up a little bit. If not the only time we're going to be visiting here this season, we're coming back for the World Cup final in the end of the year, and I understand there's another World Cup going forward in 2019.
Yes, but 2019 I believe is not going to be a shotgun event. It's going to be a rifle pistol. So, but yes, the World Cup final will be the something.
Next time to share.
First time. Yes, it's the first time in India, and it's time when it's in the peak of our shooting calendar. We have a host of domestic competitions at that time, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest generated here to watch the best in the world in Delhi.
So, can't hit them all.
The problem today has been that the wind hasn't been consistent. It's coming in gusts, which is something which you don't really enjoy as a shooter. You'd rather have a constant wind drift rather than a gusty one.
Jessica, what makes her so special? Hitting all the targets.
I think she's resilient. She's come out of a very tough tire shoot today. She's 6 people in it, and she's beaten. And like you said earlier, she's weathered the brunt of the classification round, and she's come in 6th position, which means that she has nothing to lose. She's attacking the targets, and she's showing exactly how to do it with aggressive shooting.
Can you recognize a different cultural style from different areas of the planet?
Yes, of course. The Italians are distinct.
How would you sum them up?
They have they sort of their elbows are more, pointing down towards the ground. They're sort of couched into the gun more. The gun fit possibly is more inside towards the shoulder, whereas if you look at the other countries, especially the Americans, even the Australians, they shoot a lot off the shoulder with a raised right elbow, and very distinct.
We're coming to the end of the 3rd series of 5 shots.
Since we have a left to right wind, which is quite strong, I think you must have noticed a lot of targets that are being missed are going in that direction as well. They're being pushed a little extra by the wind, which is causing a bit of concern to these shooters.
So is that the brain that must pick that up? You must analyse, yes, or is it under such a stressful situation is it difficult?
You must analyse, and you must be patient to let the gun ride on to the target rather than try and get to the push yourself to try and get to the target really quick. You've got to take a little longer to get to the target because the speed of the target is enhanced. But you will get there if you don't try and push the gun too soon. onto the target line.
If you see some of the athletes, such as Jessica Rossi, who Olympic goals, you need to analyse perhaps a bit that she's doing something right. She's not really watching the other athletes shooting.
She's focusing on the point of exit of the target. She's building her rhythm from that. And of course, it does matter when she has to start when the athlete on the left is short. But she's focusing. You can see her levels of concentration are going up as when she gets closer to shoot. And she's shooting very consistently, very smooth. So definitely, she's there. She's in the reckoning. And
well, that's the first 3 series finished now. So it's 15 shots. We do have 2 athletes on 13. That's Veruma and Rossi. So consistency there, and Yen is struggling slightly.
Yes, five of them are bunched, I think, quite close. Still, you can't call it as yet.
So you have a look around you, say something about the crowd. Have you got a good crowd in? Lots of athletes, or the public, or who's here?
There are some shooters from our domestic competitions all come here to watch. There are of course a lot of athletes as well from the shooting the World Cup here. But there are others, shooting enthusiasts who live around Delhi and who have got this great opportunity to come in and watch. And I'm sure they'll be back here tomorrow, being a Sunday.
So if you are from Delhi and you're listening, how far away are we from where?
We are in the southern extreme of Delhi, slightly towards the western side, but we are at the southern tip of Delhi. The metropolis of Delhi, is in front of us as we talk, and this great fort of Tughlaqabad, which is just you can see the ramparts in front. 800 years old.
How many, sorry?
800 years old, right in front of the shooters. And it used to be the seat of power of an emperor who ruled Delhi in the 1200s. Delhi is a very historical city, so and we Delhiites pride ourselves.
I'd say
with that, we
quite right too.
And
Yang puts one away. Not showing much emotion, the coaching team.
Yeah. Jessica has gone ahead now.
So Mop is claiming. Did you see that?
Yes, she's possibly requesting that the target came out broken. There was a flash, according to her, when the target was released. And
so what is the format now? What will actually? Is this the judge makes an instant decision?
I think she's been given a loss for that. The judge has overruled her. The judge asked the side referee on giving his judgment on it, and he said that the target was good, so therefore the score counts on that shot.
Decisions are made instantly under stress.
Instantly, yes. And the shooters have the power to question a referee's judgment, which is good for the sport. In this case, exactly the same difference. The opposite happened. She fired at a target which came out broken, so the referee's given it to her as a no target to repeat.
Which unfortunately makes little difference this time.
Sometimes, ironically, when you know the direction of the target in trap, you tend to anticipate it and move before the target comes out.
So all the bright sparks, they try and calculate everything, and it's arguable whether it's a huge advantage.
So you end up anticipating and you move before you should, and you miss target because of that.
first final at this level. Seems to be coping with it well.
Yes, very well, and I think she was sort of she's right up there, and it's not very far. I think
here we go. One of the chaps is having a bit of afternoon nap, and why not? So it's a different format to normal. Just again, if you just tuned in, what's going to happen today? There's no bronze medal match. There's no gold medal match. It's just simply the same as all the other disciplines, I guess.
That was a tough target for Davdova. I think took the wind and really zoomed off.
So what can you do? Do you have to anticipate or go early, or
actually no? You've got to be able to maintain a good acceleration through the swing. So you get to the target and pull the trigger, and then you go past.
And so that's come down to the fact that you shoot between 40 and 50,000 rounds a year. I guess you figure out what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all. It becomes like muscle memory.
Okay, muscle memory is great. I need to remember to talk about what's going on. Jessica Rossi is at the moment taking a commanding lead. She now has 3 more hits than the field. 3 athletes on 15 with Frommer, Smith and Davidova, with the 2 athletes from the People's Park struggling at the moment.
Yeah, now that we were into the last 5 series of targets, and a lot of the athletes in position, I think 4, 5 and 6 will possibly fall into the trap of thinking about who's going to get eliminated, which could affect their shooting in the last 5 targets. So it all depends on how their mental game is.
So we're going to
balanced right now.
Fast eliminations here.
First eliminations coming up, 4 targets.
Oh, there's a miss. Yen, in our picture, under pressure. Their major championship this year, I believe, is the internal Chinese championships.
We've heard a lot about the Italian, the Chinese internal competitions, which are based similar to our World Cup and World Championships. They have a very, very methodical way of addressing it, and that's why it shows that they've done so well in shooting.
Well, they seem to have 30 or 32 provinces perhaps, and they seem to go head to head quite it's very important to them. There's Jessica Rossi shooting again.
Yes, she's taken 2 misses in a row, maybe she does well towards the end of 25.
She's been there before.
She's been there before, but it's a new final for everyone, so it's pretty even, Stephen, in terms of how you prepare for this. I think even the coaches here, a lot of coaches have stayed back to watch today's final because they want to assess on how to train their athletes for the future competitions to come.
And you, as a coach,
yes, myself,
talking to yourself and convincing yourself how things are going to happen.
Yes, we've been doing quite a few drills with this final and seeing how it pans out towards the end, and we always found that between the 20th and 25th targets there is a bit of a up and down in quite a few of the athletes.
Is the physical tiredness as well?
I think it's the anticipation of the first elimination coming up, which also sometimes overrides the pure thing of shooting.
Today it's unless there's something amazing happened, it's blatantly obvious who's going to be eliminated first.
Yes, it looks so, yes. I don't think there's anyone else. She's going to be eliminated first, but then after that, the next elimination is going to be interesting because they're all very close.
So no chance to relax, unfortunately.
Yeah. No chance, yes. It just experience does count, and experience in winning big medals, I think, is a real plus for shooters because you've been there before. Having said that, she's missed another one. She's missed 4 in a row, which is quite unlike her. And now we find Penny in front. So
missing 4 in a row, is that mechanical? Something just snapped?
I think it could be
In
more mental, maybe a little, because of the mental side. You tend to make an error on your mechanical part, or technical part of shooting. So I think it's driven mentally more or so. I'm missing 4 in a row.
David Davis, it's very close, isn't it? 18, 17, 16. Here we go, let's see Jessica Ockley. 4 misses in a row. Can she come back? Yes, she does.
Right.
And if you pick that up, we do have our first elimination of the final. Amazingly well done to join the final with leading 69. We do need to say goodbye to Yang Hang Yu. So it's fairly straightforward now. It's just at 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 10 to see who is the best shot on the day.
Yes, I think now starts a really interesting in terms of the scores being so close. And we have only 5 shots to determine the next elimination. It's almost like a sudden death. This is the interesting part. This is what I really like about this final, is that the suspense is only getting stronger by, with every target that we shoot towards the end.
So how was it drawn up, the decision? Was it people were not happy with the way it was, or people thought they could improve a system?
Actually, I think I'm not sure how it was drawn up, but definitely one of the things we all had in our mind when we watched the other finals and we participated in them, there was too much of it was too disjointed. There was too many breaks between the first semi-final, then there was a bronze medal match, and so on and so forth. The finals, there was always a break in the middle, which actually didn't do very well for the spectators as well as the athletes. This is more continuous, and yes, it does take a toll on the shooter, because the gold medalist will have shot 50 targets and possibly been on shooting for over 40-45 minutes, which is a long time to maintain that composure in a big international final. So,
but we are the best athletes in the world, so they need to be tested. That's from a non-shooter.
Of course. And they'll work harder at their game, so that they're ready for the finals. I think a lot of athletes will now work much more diligently towards how to prepare for a final than they did earlier, which is going to be interesting, because you have a classification and you have a final, which is almost the same amount of targets.
So Davideva has gone from being right at the top to in a dangerous situation now. There's a miss for Penny Smith, who'd been doing astoundingly well. She'd taken the lead. It's been quite quiet and under the radar, just going about business.
It's been a first miss for a while now. Davidova's missed one as well.
2 misses in a row. The wind is actually quite significant, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's more. Sometimes when the wind is gusting, the barrels tend to move at the time of addressing for the barrels. Putting the barrels on the trench. The barrel moves. The shooter does sometimes get disturbed by the swaying barrel, and that can cause a miss as well.
Davidova is hanging in there. And we don't have shoot-offs, do we? It goes by the ranking of the qualification, so your bib number.
Exactly. Yes.
Which I think for the spectators, it's more fluid, as you mentioned a second ago.
Yes, it's easy to understand, because if you're a first-time spectator, you'd like to come and watch something which you can quickly catch on to.
Understand the rules, see how it works.
Yes. And this system of the final seems to be, doing just that.
It'd be interesting to have the feedback from the athletes after to find out whether it was terrifying or exciting, or probably both.
I think they'll all embrace it.
Well, they have no choice.
Yeah.
So this is are these rules set in stone now for a while?
I think they're going to stay this. Normally the rules are set for 4 years. The finals are for 4 years, so we'll have Tokyo in this format.
So you need to get used to it as quickly as possible.
Exactly, yes, and shooters have to train a lot. And there's going to be a final in skeet, which is similar, which is slightly longer, and there's going to be double trap. I mean, double trap is no longer in the Olympics, but we're going to have that final there. So, interesting.
You're going to have fun in the next few days understanding how exactly it gets forward.
So
we need the graphics to update a bit, perhaps. Well, that's Davidova showed some form to come back, and Wang Shijiang takes the 5th place. No Republic of China athletes left in the competition, down to the last.
Yes. Mind you, they were number 1 and 2 going into the classification.
Excellent.
To the finals, so
it's a learning day, perhaps, for them.
Yes, of course. But
they're
the first time. Finals,
exactly.
So
first time in it.
It's wonderful. I mean, I think they've done a great job. I'm sure they'll.
If you look at some of the names that missed out and some of the the athletes involved in the shoot-off, they've done pretty well. Down to the last one.
I think they'll be put under a severe test of pressure now, because this is virtually a sudden death for the medals in a way. The person who gets eliminated here will lose out, and the other 3 will get medals. So I think this is where it gets a little more tense.
Well, I think we have Jessica Rossi and Penny pulling ahead of the others, but it's very much a case of Roma and Davidova are going head to head.
Penny's come back very strong after those 2 misses in a row again. She's shown immense maturity for being a young girl.
A slight wobble, then decided to talk to herself.
Strong.
You are double world champion, you are Olympic champion, get you out there.
That's just Jessica. I was talking about Penny, but yes, Jessica's done just that as well. Shows a lot about their mental strength and their makeup.
Is that something that's born, trained, or both?
I think it's both. I think it's your character as well that makes a big difference. And then if you have a good coach, these days a lot of our shooters are going to sports psychologists for training to get themselves stronger on the mental side. So there's a lot of effort going into the sport now by the athlete itself, and that's why the results are showing, and the scores are going up higher and higher every year. I believe when I started shooting some 30 years ago, the shooters were not so focused on their physical fitness and their sports, their mental game as they are now. And they all see coaches for different reasons. Some of them have teams which coaching teams, support staff. It goes to show there's a lot of professionalism coming into shooting, which is very good. Which is very good. I think it is good because it brings the standard up of the sport, and when you bring the standard up of the sport, you actually create a really good environment for others to come into it as well. And even the manufacturers and the sports equipment suppliers sort of up their game and make sure that they have the best products available for the top shooters.
It's close at the bronze medal situation. One more athlete to be eliminated in a minute. So pressures are on Davidova's shoulders. Here we see the shoot. Jessica Ross has just missed one. She was leading. As you've heard, due to the countback system, Davidova takes the 4th place, her first senior final.
Well shot by her. She was one of the dark horses in the final, and she's done well to get to this position.
So 5 more targets to see who's eliminated next. On paper, Momo has a challenge.
I think so. Yes.
Mopsy.
I think we pretty much after the first miss, it'll be tough for her to make the gold medal match, but Jessica seems to be pulling ahead now as well.
Well, last 3 athletes have had challenge. Well, they've missed. So the lead is consistently changing hands. Mopsy is going to take the bronze. Previous best result was 4th, so it's apart from 1999, of course, so she took a medal in the World Juniors.
I think it's always it's a great feeling to win a medal in the first World Cup of the year, especially of the Olympic cycle as well. The new rules, I'm sure she'll be really happy with it. Three different nations going to end up with the medals. Saw People's Republic of China taking 6th, 5th place, Kazakhstan 4th. It's going to be Finland taking the bronze medal. Penny's shooting, I think, more consistently now towards the end. You're talking a bit about Penny, so you must subconsciously feel that she's the one to watch. I think. Right, so let's break off. Let's talk about Mopsy. Bronze medal for Finland. Well done. So we go from the 5 format to 10 more shots. At least 10 more shots. What will the referees be saying? I guess they were telling them that you have to, about the time you can take from going from one station to the other, because you just 2 athletes left. So you don't have the liberty of having 5 or 6 in the squad to move at a slower pace. But here you need to wait till the athlete on your left or your right is shot and then move to the next station. That's interesting. Now Penny Smith from Australia has a 2-point lead. She's beginning to shoot with a great rhythm. Well, to be fair, for the last 10 minutes you've been talking her up. Amazing, because she's getting better with the whole as she's moving closer and closer to the end. She's breaking the targets even faster than she was at the start of the final. So it goes to show that she's very confident. But you never know. I think Jessica still has to hang in there and try and put together a string of some good hits, and then you'll have to see what happens with the last 5 targets. It's interesting that the crowd has gone quite silent. They're absorbed by the excitement of it. That's always a good sign, I think, when the crowd is not just chatting away and looking in different directions. It's just, the suspense does build up with this new format, especially when elimination is the catchword. Three-shot lead from the young Australian lifeguard. And for some reason the wind has died down. So Jamie's just explaining that 5 targets have gone, so 5 targets to go, and we do have a lead of 3.
So suspense will go on for at least a minute.
Yes,
Maybe more.
Yes.
Maybe more.
It does play on your head when the score is announced and you know that you're 2 targets away or 3 targets away from a win. It can affect you.
4 shots left, 2 hits in it. Penny Smith from Australia so far is in the driving seat. Three shots to go and 2 in the lead. Looks concentrated when she's walking across.
I think both if you look at the final, both of them have shot consistently well in series of targets, and then they may have bunched up and missed a few, like 2 in a row or 3 in a row targets, but they have shot a lot of targets consistently well for longer periods of time than the others did, and I guess that's why they find themselves in this position. They seem to be able to maintain their rhythm a lot better than the others did, and that's why they find themselves shooting off for the gold medal.
Well, this could be, I believe, the winning shot. 2 ahead, 2 to go. Or if one of them misses.
It's official, I think.
Last shot, but 2 ahead. Well done all the athletes, well done especially to Penny Smith from Australia.
Wonderful, great to see. I think another Australian wins back to back. We had Skinner winning the gold at the Olympics in Rio, and this is the first World Cup after that, and we have Penny winning here.
So she went off to Japan to do some skiing, and why not?
Why not? They deserve that.
Since the Australians had their nationals a few weeks back, so they're certainly in the zone still, and they've obviously got doing something right.
Yeah. Yes, they're coming out of their summer, so they obviously have been training a lot harder than the rest of the world.
In temperatures that can't be. I was talking to James Wilmot the other day, and he was telling me that he did a competition in 46 degrees.
I can imagine. We've been through a few of those here as well. It gets very hot in Delhi in the summer, but normally, like I said, all our shooting is in the winter because of the weather. But I guess the Europeans have obviously had a long layover because of the winter, and they'll be back, I'm sure, at full strength by the time the World Cups go to.
Well, Manchester Singh, thank you so much for coming in. Welcome back anytime, giving you your depth of knowledge, which is unsurpassed. 4 times Olympian from India. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here today. Thank you.
Well, we're just looking at the medalists now. So it's Mopsy Roma who's taking the bronze. Jessica Rossi kissing her gun. It's been good to her taking the silver. She fought back from a 6-way shoot-off. And gold medal representing Australia. Keeps the shades on. It is Penny Smith. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll be back for full program. Thanks so much for listening in, for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.